Hi, everybody. I didn't know we were starting. Welcome to our already chaotic live show. My name is Zoe, and you are on my channel.
I'm Hailey from Hailey and Bookland.
And I'm Hannah from a Clockwork Reader.
Sorry, I just caught them all off guard. So you
did
yourselves, So it is episode or chapter 31, which is crazy how the time has flown by so much. But today we're going to talk about reading outside of our comfort zones. But first, we're going to talk about what we are currently reading. Would you like to start, Hailey?
I'm not reading anything.
It's like me from a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I am currently reading 3 books. I'm listening to Clockwork Prince on audiobook. It's the first time I've read it since the first time I read the book when I was like 14. And I'm almost finished with it, and it's making me super emotional. And then I am also reading this graphic novel. It's just Teen Titans Raven, by Cami Garcia. I just got this in the mail a couple days ago, and I'm really enjoying it. I love the Teen Titans, so I was excited about this. And then I am lastly reading Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Once I finish Clockwork Prince, I think I'm going to pay more
Flexing on us.
Once I finish Clockwork Prince, I think this is the next one I'm really going to focus on, because I've only read, I don't know, 30 pages or something. Yeah, 35 pages, but it's really good so far. So
Yay! What does the art look like for Raven?
The art?
Yeah.
Let me find a good one. It's pretty. It's black and white, and then just purple for her hair and her look. She kind of colored in. It's really good, actually. It's different than the regular Teen Titans art, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's really nice, and I really like it. So
cool. Well, I am still reading the books. I haven't made my way through them for some reason, but I'm still reading Red, White, and Royal Blue. Still haven't finished it. I don't know why it's taking me so long, but I think I'm probably going to have to start again because it's been so long. And I'm still reading Prince Charming. And we'll talk about what our current book of the month is on this Sunday, so 2 days from now, we're going to have our live show on Hannah's channel talking about Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. And then our June book of the month is I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. It just came in the mail, so I have it right here and really excited about it. And that'll be at the end of June where we'll have our live show. But anyway, let's talk about our discussion. Let's talk about reading outside of our comfort zone. Earlier I tweeted on our Twitter polls for all of this. For some reason I didn't finish the tweet when I tweeted it, so it's half a tweet, but you understood what I was asking you guys to do. So some polls about reading outside of our comfort zone. So the first one is, which genre would you consider to be in your comfort zone? 50% of people said fantasy, which I was not surprised. Only 7% of people said sci-fi. 33% said contemporary, and 10% said thriller. And then which genre do you pick up the least? You can kind of tell from the previous one. Only 7% of people said fantasy, 32% of people said sci-fi, 14% contemporary, and 47% said thriller, which I thought was kind of shocking. I mean, yeah, no, it was shocking. Which age category do you pick up the least? 70% of people said children's, not surprising. 17% said middle grade, 4% said YA, our demographic, that's not surprising, and 15% of people said adult. Now, which format do you pick up the least? 41% of people said graphic novels, which I was not expecting because I feel like they're kind of on the rise nowadays. 30% said audiobooks, 28% said ebooks, and only 1% said physical books. Now, what inspires you to read outside of your comfort zone? 33% said Friends Review, 50% said Hype, which is also what I selected. No, I selected Friends Review because it's usually you guys who are telling me to read things. 11% said Impulse Buy, and 6% said Adaptation. I know a few people were saying that the cover inspired them to pick it up, which I interpreted as Impulse Buy because you see it and you're like, nice, that looks really pretty. I don't really care about thrillers, but I like that dead person on the cover, so we're gonna read it.
dead
Wow.
people on the cover of thrillers? I don't think so.
It could be a really pretty dead person. You don't know what's on cover.
Wow, I'm so uncomfortable with everything that's happening right now.
So our last two questions were, what is the favorite book that was outside of your comfort zone that you took a chance on? A lot of people said Evelyn Hugo. They actually said that we were the reason, or booktubers, but like specifically us were the reason that they picked up some adult books like Evelyn Hugo. And we have Radio Silence. They said that they didn't normally pick up contemporary. We have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, which fits in with like sci-fi. A lot of people didn't pick up sci-fi. The Kiss Quotient was somebody's first adult romance book, and Infernal Devices is one of them. So that was really interesting. And then what was the least favorite book that was outside of your comfort zone that you took a chance on? 50 Shades of Grey, A Court of Thorns and Roses, The Fault in Our Stars. They were a nurse, so they found it really inaccurate, which I would not have realized when I was 14 years old and reading it for the first time. 50 Shades of Grey, again. We have Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. That was multiple times, actually. Anna and the French Kiss. One of Us is Lying. Very interesting. So if you want to take... someone said The Raven Cycle. Excuse me. But if you want to look through all of those, it's on our Twitter at Bookmarked Club. I think it's really interesting. But let's go through the questions ourselves, and what would your answers be? So what is your comfort zone? What would you define that as? It doesn't have to necessarily be the responses that we have here, but what would you define, like themes that usually pick up, genres, age categories? What do you pick up more than the rest?
I think contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
Contemporary and fantasy, I would say, but definitely more recently, contemporary is 100% my comfort zone.
For me, it's for sure fantasy, but fantasy and then like what I call like heartfelt contemporaries, like the ones that are like about deep emotional issues and stuff like that. Like any contemporary that's like that, I'll instantly read. But for me, it's for sure fantasy is like the biggest genre. That's like my comfort zone in terms of genre. It's just my favorite one. I don't know if I would call it like my comfort zone. It's just more of like my favorite place to read in.
I would think that's like the definition. We can talk about what the definition of reading comfort zone is. It doesn't necessarily have to be like what you only pick up, but it's where you usually gravitate towards, like in a bookstore, or like if someone is recommending you a book, what would you be more likely to pick up?
Yeah, so like it's, for me, I think it's mostly because I really like character-based stories and anything that's about some sort of journey of like emotional or personal growth. I really like those types of stories, which is why I think I like magic. So that's why I like fantasy a lot of the time. And I really like magical realism, and I like anything that has some sort of magical element mixed into it, if it's like a contemporary, stuff like that. So that's definitely like my zone.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
Wait, you said you thought what? Lose your train of thought.
I think that my comfort zone kind of depends on what's going on in my life at the moment. So like if I'm like in kind of a bad place, then I'll tend to gravitate more toward, and this is like general, it's always like not always the truth, but I think I'll gravitate toward more like escapism, so like fantasy and like things that don't remind me of real life. But if I'm like having a great time, I'm like, life is like, you know, the times that I wish would come more often, that's when I will gravitate more towards. Yes, that's when I'll gravitate more toward like contemporary and stuff like that. That will kind of like remind me of like whatever, I don't know, like,
yeah,
it's hard to explain. I guess like sometimes I want to escape and sometimes I won't. So that's kind of where my comfort zone goes. But I think that I frequently will like delve outside of it, but I definitely do like the things like within it. I like to be comfortable. So
yeah,
hence comfort zone.
I think that's really interesting because I'm kind of the opposite. When I'm like not in the best place, I want more of like contemporary, like lighthearted books that I can fly through easier. And then when I'm like in a great place, I want to take on something a little bit like more challenging, or something that I won't read as quickly. So because I have more brain power that I can devote to reading fantasy. But usually I don't really stick to my reading taste. Like, I don't really know what it is because I listen to a lot of people's recommendations. So like when the two of you are like, you need to read this, I'm like, okay. And so I go ahead with it. But I think it would definitely, the ones that if someone recommends a book, I will be quicker to pick up would be like a contemporary romance of some sort. I definitely like character-focused books, so that's also why I don't pick up fantasy as much, or the ones that I do really like are more focused on characters, like the Raven Cycle, and ones that are, I guess, lower fantasy, what is it called?
Lower fantasy.
Yeah, lower fantasy. I like ones that are more focused on like the day-to-day life, because then I can kind of escape more, I guess, because I can imagine myself in that situation. So like if it's fantasy that just like happens in real life, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I've been like a fairy this whole time? I like that.
Amazing.
So one of the other questions that I wanted to ask you all is like, how has your reading taste evolved over time? So what used to be your comfort zone, but you experiment a little bit, and like now you found new genres that you really like?
For me, I feel like it's kind of weird because like my old comfort zone or like category that I tended to read mostly in was YA, and like solely YA, but that's because I was like 12, 11, 13, like I was in that age category. So like that's pretty much all I read when I got like really into reading. When I first found Twilight, like all I was reading was like YA fantasy and dystopian, because it's like the only thing I wanted to read. I didn't even read contemporaries except for like The Fault in Our Stars. I didn't read like anything but fantasy. And then I stopped reading for like several years in high school, and it wasn't until my senior year that I like got back into reading, because that's when I found BookTube. And since then, it's like I don't really feel like my taste has changed much. I just feel like because I'm older, I'm just into different things now. So I just feel more inclined to pick up new things and try different things. So I don't know. I feel like I'm still very much into fantasy, and that will, I think, always be my favorite place to read. But now I'm just more open to just trying different things and seeing what I like in other categories or in other genres. But I can still tell, like I still gravitate towards like the themes of stories that I really like. Like that's always what I'm going to want to pick up, regardless of what genre I'm reading it in.
I have to agree. Like, I feel like I am more open now, but I also like it's hard for me to kind of pinpoint how my tastes have changed, because I used to just like pick up a book once in a blue moon. I wasn't like always a reader, so I didn't always have certain things that I would be really into. So, I think if anything, like when I did pick up a book, it would generally be strictly contemporary. Like when I tried reading Harry Potter, I was like, meh, like wasn't really into it. And then I finally read it. But I would just pick up like the contemporaries and things that weren't too complicated, because I wasn't a big reader and I didn't feel that confident in my reading skills. So I was like, whatever is easiest. I think like, honestly, I feel like no, I guess I read like Magic Tree. We always go back to Magic Tree House.
It's not a Bookmarked live show without a mention of Magic Tree.
Honestly. But I think that I've always liked like historical things, I guess, because I really enjoyed those. And those have an element of realism to them as well. I guess I was kind of always all over the place, and I'm still always all over the place. But I think if anything, I've learned what my comfort zone is, and I've learned how far I can stretch it and still be comfortable. Like age category is definitely a big thing. Like Hannah said, like I've gotten more into adult, and that has been like recently, like romances. I've been reading so many of those. But I also have, my train of thought went out the window. You can just move on. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I agree. Like I have very similar, especially with you, Hailey. Like I've always been kind of all over the place, because I used to, I started reading Harry Potter when I was really young, and so I've always been kind of into fantasy, but then like Magic Tree House and all that. But I think that I don't know. I really like getting older, because it feels like a Pokemon evolution, like I feel like I've leveled up in a way. So I
feel
love
like I'm leveling down. Just like I was at my peak when I was born, and then like it just keeps on getting lower.
baby Hailey could flex on all of us.
Honestly, actually, she was born blue and not breathing, so she really started off at the bottom and then just went further down. Love that for me.
Oh my god. Oh gosh.
For the Blue Man Group. I just didn't know.
Wow. You were the founding member and no one gave you any credit, and I'm very
No!
sorry for your loss.
What is that? Oh my god.
But yeah, I've kind of been all over the place, but lately I've been experimenting more with like adult and stuff like that. So I don't know. Like I feel like I've been reading more outside of my comfort zone with like graphic novels and stuff like that, but I've never been like stick to one genre type of person. I've been very susceptible to other people's recommendations for books ever since I was born, I guess, because my whole family is really into fantasy. And, you know, I have friends who like contemporary books and all of that. So, what were you going to say, Hailey?
I was going to say, yes. There's certain things that I will stretch my comfort zone with. So, for example, if there's sci-fi, I will sometimes try it, but I'm a bit pickier with it. Mystery is something that I've been getting more into recently. Like thriller, sometimes. Horror, definitely not. Won't do it. Never will. No, thank you. I have no interest in that. I'm the biggest chicken in the entire world. I talk the big talk, but
you really do.
No, I'm such a chicken for like how like I am. I'm an absolute chicken.
Take her to a theme park. You'll learn very quickly who she is.
Do not take me to a theme park. I don't like roller coasters. Don't lie to me and tell me that there's not a drop when there is. I wonder who did that.
It wasn't a lie.
It wasn't a lie.
It was a
misinformed
information. Literally, they told me they're like, there's no drops. It's fine. Because I was like, I can't do drops. And then the first thing that happens is you're like, wachoom! And I'm like, okay, there goes my entire life.
We got it out of the way.
No, it was horrible. I hated it. And then I just screamed the entire time. And everyone got to know my very colorful vocabulary. So you're welcome, everyone. But yeah, I will like stretch kind of, but I like my comfort zone.
Well, that's the next question that I wanted to ask. Like, how hard and fast is your comfort zone? Because I know earlier today, I asked Hailey, like, oh, we should make our next book of the month a mystery. And she's like, no. So how much of a liar are you, Hailey?
Okay, called out. I feel like this kind of gets into, I don't know if it's the next question, but one of the other questions, so the last question, what inspires you to read outside of your comfort zone? I will read outside of my comfort zone if a friend has recommended it to me, I will consider it, or if there's hype surrounding it. But I will never like pick up unless it has like a gorgeous cover, because I'm such a superficial human being that I absolutely will pick it up if it has a pretty cover. But other than that, I won't pick it up. I know I'm not going to like it. I know I'm not interested in it. Or I don't know that I'm not going to like it. I know that chances are I'm not going to enjoy it. And I have way too many other things that are inside of my comfort zone that I haven't gotten the chance to get to yet. So I don't want to be wasting time on something that is outside of my comfort zone, but I might not like it. And I haven't heard anything about it. So why am I going to do that? So not a liar.
You didn't hear what mystery I was interested in reading. And you're like, no.
Well, because I was like, no. You never told me. Oh,
well, I asked and you said no, so I wasn't going to say, but like what?
Okay, I will read mysteries around Halloween.
Yeah.
That is when I will take
you're more of like a seasonal going out of your comfort zone.
I'm really trying not to do that though, because it kills me in the end.
You did.
But I'm not doing very well with it. What else is new?
What about you, Hannah? How far will you be comfortable stretching your comfort zone?
I don't feel like I have really strict rules about my comfort zone. Like, I feel like I'll read pretty much anything as long as I know that there's something in it that interests me. Like, I won't pick up like a horror book if you tell me it's literally just like, I don't know, about like straight up murder. Like, I think I'll be bored. But if it has like themes in it or something that I like I'm not opposed to trying it. I think like you, Hailey, like tend to pick up the books that are in my comfort zone just because like I've been wanting to read them for a long time. So I have like some sort of investment in them already. But yeah, I don't feel like I have like super strict rules about it. Like, I'm willing to try almost anything. And I know that I will like at least something like in every genre. But I know that there are just like places and like genres or categories that like I just don't really delve into because it's just not my thing, and I know that. Like I don't really read any like straight up romance very much. Like there are obviously some I want to try, like Red, White, and Royal Blue, because like I feel like I would like that because it has like, because I don't like just straight romance too much. I like when there's
stuff going on
to it. Yeah, and a lot of that story is political, so like I think I would like that. But I just don't tend to pick up romance books because I just know I'm not really going to like them, or there's at least a higher chance that I won't like it. So yeah, in that turn, like in that case, I kind of stay away from certain things unless, of course, like there's a lot of hype around something or someone tells me I think you'd like this because of this, then I'll definitely try it. So I don't really feel like I have like strict rules. I'm open to trying anything.
Oh, sorry. I'm blocking somebody.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, we're good. I am protecting us. Well, I definitely agree, Hannah. I don't have really strict borders on my comfort zone at all. I'm basically like reading all over the place. It's just I listen to other people more than I listen to myself. But
Wow,
no,
can't relate.
reading all over the place because I guess it's because I have friends who know my comfort zone. That's probably why. But I also watch a lot of BookTube and I like listen. I watch a lot of wrap-ups, and so I get a lot of recommendations from there too. But I like to experiment. I don't like to just read one genre for too long of a time.
I don't know. I think I do because like I know what I like, and
you
I
get
don't
like moods. I like that.
Yeah, and I also like I tell people what I like and what I don't like. So then if I read something outside of that and I end up liking it, then I feel like I look dumb. Also, like it's not my own idea to like it, so I'm like,
That's
no.
what it is.
It's the rebel. It's the rebel in you, keeping you from
I don't know why I'm
experimenting
this
and
way.
finding secret gems. Well, actually, I forgot to continue on with the poll. So, the second question from the poll is, which genre do you pick up the least? So, Hannah, you said romance books. Is that the one you pick up the least?
Yeah, probably romance and sci-fi and nonfiction. I feel like I want to read more nonfiction. I just like really have to be in the mood. And when I'm in the mood, I'll read like a bunch of them in a row, and then I just won't read them for like 2 years. But yeah, it's probably more than anything, it's just like strict romance that I read the least of.
What about you, Hailey?
I would say definitely mystery and thriller. Sci-fi would be the next one. Nonfiction is like, I don't pick up nonfiction, not because I don't want to, just because I know how time consuming it can be. And there's just like so many other fictional stories that I would like to get to first. The baby birthday boy.
It's his birthday. He's 15 years old. Oh, kisses. Oh, sorry. We're sharing a moment. Look away.
That's my husband right there.
It is legal.
Amazing.
What were you saying?
I'm blocking someone again, so you can move on. We're having lots of struggles today.
Yeah. We're very popular today with
we
are want to be popular with. But the genre I pick up least, I think, would also be sci-fi and nonfiction. I only really pick up like celebrity memoirs. I feel like it's the only spot nonfiction when I have like already a tie to them, or it's like a TED Talk I watched. And
see, I would want historical. Like just a straight up like history about something that I'm interested in. That's what I would
like
pick
the type of nonfiction I like too.
I just haven't gotten recommended a good one, so that's why I haven't picked it up. Except the library book. The library book was really good.
You read Persepolis. That's a graphic historical memoir.
True. So I'm a liar. But that's the one that I pick. The ones that I'll like myself, I'll go out and find, I think are usually nonfiction celebrity memoirs because I already like them. But question number 3, which age category do you pick up the least? I think mine would be children's, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think children's are middle grade.
I pick up more middle grade.
I don't read middle grade often.
Read Nevermore.
Yeah. It doesn't, middle grade doesn't do that much for me anymore. I don't know why. I think it's just like I can't really relate to it because I'm dead inside.
Not where I thought that sentence was going.
My inner child is just gone.
I like middle grade. I usually read middle grade to review middle grade. Does that make sense? Like I don't really read it as much just because like I really want like this story. I read it because I'm like, oh, this seems like interesting and I want to like know what it's about, but I don't really think I'm gonna like relate to this story. Like, I feel like I go into it with a different mindset, just because it's meant for like a younger audience, and I know it's not going to be like directly applicable to my life, but some of them definitely can be. It just depends, I think, on the story.
So question number, which one was it? Question number 4, what inspires you to read outside of your comfort zone? Well, actually, no, the next question was, what format do you usually not read?
Ebooks.
Ebooks?
I read ebooks when I travel. Graphic novels I never read. I don't like them.
Why?
I don't know. I just like, there's nothing wrong with them. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I just don't tend to like them.
Okay.
And I never am like, I want to pick it up unless it's like an Alice in Wonderland graphic novel. Then I'm like, yes, please. Like, obviously that's kind of an exception.
Yeah.
So I guess like graphic recreations of a story that I already know. Yes, but just new graphic novels, it really doesn't interest me.
You should read the Clockwork Angel graphic novel and tell me how it is. I've literally never read it.
I should do that.
Ooh.
I should.
Yeah, mine I think would be ebooks too, although I like just read an ebook and I liked the experience, so I don't know, maybe times are changing.
I did also just read an ebook, but yeah, I read them way less than everything else.
I only read them when I'm traveling and like I don't want to bring
that makes sense
with me. Yeah.
So the next question is, what inspires you to read outside of your comfort zone? We kind of already covered this, but are there any other things that maybe like sometimes like adaptations, I watch them and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would really enjoy this. Like the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society is one that I just tried out and I really liked it. Although it wasn't really outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Never mind. But like but the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I read that. It's like a horror graphic novel and it was a lot, but it was a very interesting experience.
For me, it's just like hype, I think. I mean, like, and a friend's recommendation, but like mostly it's just hype. If I see a bunch of people talking about something, I'm like, oh, that sounds like something I could like. Then I'll try it out, and then it makes me like delve more into the genre.
Yeah, mine's definitely hype would be number 1. Then I would say a friend's recommendation, then an impulse buy because, like I said,
and then our next one is your favorite book you took a chance on. One that you weren't too sure about, or like one that somebody recommended and you were not sure if it would work out. What's a good one?
I literally suggested this question and never came up with an answer. I hate myself. I guess like Illuminate. I never would have usually picked that up because it's whatchamacallit? Oh my god. Sci-fi.
Yes.
My brain broke.
Wait, so this is one that we liked, right?
One that we liked,
right? Okay. Yeah. So that and like someone else said, Skyward is definitely another one. Also, Sadie by Courtney Summers. I don't think is something that I generally would have picked up because it's kind of yeah. Those are my answers.
I think that would be one too, because I read it as an audiobook and I don't normally read audiobooks. So I think that was like kind of both out of my comfort zone because it was a thriller and it was an audiobook, but it was really good.
It was.
I don't think of one that I liked. I know there are definitely some, but it's just like not coming to my head right now. But I have one
back to it
for one that I didn't like.
Oh, then what's one that you didn't like?
What's it called? Oh my god. By Ruth Ware. It's like one that came out last year. It's a thriller.
I have on her right here, actually, that I'm.
Wait, let me look it up. I just forgot the title.
The Woman in the Cabin in a Dark, Dark Wood.
The Death of Mrs.
Westaway. The Death of Mrs. Westaway. That one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. I was trying to remember the cover. I read that one when I was like reading some more thrillers because I was like kind of getting into thrillers. And I didn't hate the book by any means. I just like kind of thought it was boring and a little bit predictable. That was like the struggle that I was having with a lot of the thrillers that I was reading. Like I read Woman in the Window too. That's another one that I felt was like for me, like reading outside of my comfort zone. But it didn't turn me off from like thrillers as a genre or like psychological thrillers or anything. But those two were just like iffy.
I don't normally finish books that I'm not feeling. So I don't have like one specifically in mind right now, but I know I just read the Grisha trilogy and I disliked that. And I only read it because people told me to. So, and that's a fantasy.
I would like to point out that I told you to not read them and just read Six of Crows, but you didn't listen to me.
I listened to the vast majority of people who told me to, instead of just you.
You told me. You were like, no, now I have to read them. I think mine would be Saw Kill Girls.
Oh, yeah. We
That
didn't
one
finish
is, like-
that.
No.
Yeah, I remember that buddy read. It was really great. I felt
Yeah,
my
that could be
friendship.
one for
buddy
all of us too.
Yeah.
We just weren't feeling it.
Yeah, the strength of my friendship right there. So this is beautiful.
Okay, so more questions that I wanted to talk about were genres that we want to explore. So what's one that you don't really read too much now, but you're looking for recommendations? I think mine would be thrillers and mysteries. Like I always have liked mysteries, but I don't read a lot of them. So that's kind of outside my comfort zone because I've not gravitated towards it.
I feel like I definitely want to read some more mystery too. At this point, I don't feel like it's out of my comfort zone. I just haven't read that many and I want to read more. But I also feel like just good nonfiction. I don't know. I feel like I've been in a very nonfiction mood lately. I haven't been reading any, but I've just been feeling that what?
Feeling intellectual.
Yeah, I'm feeling intellectual.
Even more.
I think it's partially because I'm not in school, so I'm not reading articles right now, and I'm not reading a bunch of nonfiction texts. So I think that's kind of why I'm missing that. I think that's why I don't read it, or why I haven't read it as much, because I'd always read it in school, so I didn't see a reason to read it outside of it because I wanted to
read the library book.
The library book?
So good. So good.
But yeah, I think nonfiction is kind of what I'm looking for, historical fiction. Historical nonfiction. Yeah, not historical fiction. Historical nonfiction.
Yeah, I think mine would be that too. I want to read more nonfiction. I have a few on my shelf, but I just haven't gotten around to reading them because they take so much brain power. The ones that I have on my shelf do. What about you, Hailey?
I feel like I want to get into I want to make the time for nonfiction is the thing.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not going to do that. I know it's not going to happen.
Realistic.
Yeah, I know myself. I know it's not going to happen. I mean, if I've been struggling with fantasy because it's too much recently, I'm not going to be able to read any nonfiction. I definitely don't want to get into mysteries more. Because
yeah, I know. Try to recommend them. Did not.
I'm sorry.
Well, you just read Truly Devious.
I actually no, I didn't finish it.
Oh, well, that explains it.
I didn't DNF it. I just kind of was
yeah,
I get good stuff going on.
Yeah,
I did. I forget what I was doing, but I apparently was doing things. I don't know. I don't think there's anything that I really want to get into more.
You're solid in your comfort zone.
Yeah, I'm happy where I am, just doing what I want, living my sad life.
A lie. It's a lie.
I guess romance. I've been getting into that more, so I have been looking for recommendations, but I'm also extremely picky with them. I just want the ones with the cute illustrated covers. Even if the synopsis sounds cute, if it has an ugly cover and it's a mass market paperback, it's not happening. I'm not doing it. No, thank you. So I feel the cute ones that are both cute in looks and in content. That's what I would like more.
I also want to read more poetry. I feel like it's because I had a bad class. I had a teacher who basically told us we had to interpret it the same way she interpreted it. So it put me off
my entire degree.
It put me off of it so much because I just have all of these resentments towards poetry. But I have Amanda Lovelace's both of those books on my shelf. I just haven't actually built up the want to read it, but I haven't read Milk and Honey or anything yet. I haven't read any of the popular ones.
You haven't read Milk and Honey?
No, because I was against poetry.
I never read Milk
Very
and
different
Honey.
than the poetry you'll read in class.
Yeah.
I read whatchamacallit though. The Sun and Her Flowers.
Is that the second
I
one?
read that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like modern poetry.
Oh, so you didn't like that one?
No.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
like modern poetry at all. I like the old dead people.
I love both. So
A little
I
bit.
will read all of them.
So what are ones that you simply cannot get into? Like horror.
Genres?
Yeah.
Horror. Not at all. I don't think there's any other genre where I'm like, I know I have no desire to pick it up. At least none that comes to mind at the moment.
That's good. You at least have some part of you that wants to explore.
Yeah. I mean, I guess adult sci-fi.
Oh, yeah.
I have no desire to get into adult sci-fi.
Yeah. I think that's me at the moment, but I could be persuaded. Maybe. Probably not.
I feel like there isn't one that I definitely don't want to. I mean, I don't know, like romance that's just very smutty. I won't read.
Yeah.
But
I feel the same.
Live your life how you want to live it. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to trying that out, but I just need to find one that like is a good place to start, one that's like very tame.
I have nothing against it. It's just like not what I like to read.
Yeah.
So like that's why.
That's what this whole live show. We're not against anything. We're just like how we are feeling now is what we're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, books, we're going to recommend some books for people who want to explore certain genres. So like good starter books in each genre. So like with mystery, I definitely would recommend for people who read a lot of YA to start with Truly Devious, because that is a really, like, it's very contemporary, but it has some, I don't know, I feel like it'd get you interested in reading more mysteries, especially with all of the references towards like Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes. It could really inspire you to try more.
Yeah, I think Truly Devious is great for that. I think Sadie's another good one for mystery.
A Study in Charlotte is a good one for that too, by Brittany Cavallaro. That's good. It's like Sherlock Holmes, so it's also like modern.
Oh, okay.
Kind
I
of
want to try that
mystery.
one.
I also am not the best person to recommend mysteries though, because I predict absolutely nothing. Like zero things.
It's fun though. You'd be surprised. Okay, there you go.
Every little plot twist, I'm like, what? I didn't see that coming.
That's fun. I guess too much of it, and then it's just like, it's not entertaining anymore.
I never guess the right ones because I come up with
you just
like
you're like this. You're literally that meme of the guy who has the like board behind him with the red string or whatever. Yeah, like that's you.
Maybe I need to write mystery because I come up with wild plot twists.
Honestly, you should.
She was like texting me while she was reading Truly Devious or The Vanishing Stare. I don't remember which one. And she was like, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. I was like, just read it.
It's me with ones that aren't even mysteries. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
But I just like, I think with like psychological thrillers is my thing, where it's not so much mysteries, it's psychological thrillers, anything that's kind of crime based, because I watched so many crime shows. I know like the general, like Hailey's like, no. I know like the general, like, I don't know, arc of like how it goes.
Like the formula.
So, the formula. Thank you. Like the formula for how they play out, and there are so many like options, like only so many, so like I can predict them pretty easily, and that's why they're just like not as fun for me to read sometimes. But if they can like catch me off guard, then I love them. So like You by Caroline Kepnes, I think is a great psychological thriller. I thought that was really suspenseful. I thought it like really keeps you guessing. That one was wonderful.
I feel like with shows, I definitely can predict what's going to happen, but with books, because I can read them at my own pace, I like come up with wild plot twists.
Everything is
because I stop. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if? But let's talk about, what about psychological thrillers? Are there any that you would recommend to people who want to get into that genre?
You?
Yeah, I think that would be a good one. I feel like Sadie could count more as a psychological thriller than a mystery.
Yeah, it's more of like a thriller, I guess.
Yeah.
So what about fantasy? YA fantasy? What's a good place to start there? I'm gonna let you guys handle this.
Low fantasy, I would say.
But what would be a recommendation with that? And we could have a high fantasy one too.
I feel like there are different, like, there's like this, I guess, part of YA fantasy that I've noticed with like An Ember in the Ashes and Six of Crows. Like, they're magical, but they're not like super magical. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like there's some magic in this world, obviously, and there are like different races or different like beings that have powers, but magic is not like it's just like not used as often as it is in some other fantasy books. So I think those two are good to get into for high fantasy. That's
grounded.
Like,
I feel like
it's more grounded because both of them are also inspired by like historical places and events, like the Roman Empire for An Ember in the Ashes, and what is Ketterdam inspired by?
Russia. Oh no,
Russia?
Ketterdam isn't. I don't know. I know the Grisha trilogy was inspired by Russia.
Well, I think it's like just that era, but
industrial age.
Yeah, industrial age, like Russia. And so I think it's inspired by a lot of things. Actually, I know Ketterdam is, but I think those two are better for high fantasy if you're just trying to get into that in YA, and something that's like easier to get into in terms of understanding a magic system, because they're more I don't know, there's just less magic in the day-to-day events of the book.
What about low fantasy? Do you have any recommendations for someone to start with low fantasy? I don't think I would start with Raven Cycle, because I feel like that's a little bit, I don't know, I felt like I had to read it twice to really understand what was happening. Or to
I feel like the Raven Cycle is paranormal. I wouldn't call it fantasy. Exactly.
It's very much like real life with a little sprinkling of magic. And there are ghosts.
Yeah.
There are ghosts.
Oh yeah, Mortal Instruments. That would definitely be a place to start.
Yeah, I think so.
With Infernal Devices, because it's the better one.
Yeah.
I think The Diviners.
Oh
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. What else? I don't have anything here with me.
There are people also recommending in the chat too. So if you want any recommendations for different genres, check out the chat. Everybody's great. I love you, chat. You guys are so great. Oh yeah, Dresden Files, that could be one. Oh, Graceling. Someone said that.
Graceling is high fantasy.
Oh, well, it could have been from earlier in the chat. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, how about YA sad contemporary?
I got every recommendation. That's the only contemporary I read. I didn't actually mean.
Oh, okay. I thought you
had. Sad stuff. Ugh, there are so many sad books.
I feel like it's it's a pretty easy genre to start with because it's real life.
I think so.
But I feel like maybe like Eliza and Her Monsters, that's a little bit like sadder, or like Radio Silence. Again, it's not a live show until we mention Radio Silence. But that's a really good one to start with because it's also about like fandom culture and stuff like that. Both of them are. So I feel like if you're watching this live show right now, you can relate to that in some way. Oh, Turtles All the Way Down. A Monster Calls. That's more of like.
I had a whole list, but I can't find it anywhere because I was supposed to film this video ages ago, but I never did.
Oh, You're Okay by Nina LaCour. That's a good one. Gail Foreman, people are saying. Perks of Being a Wallflower. Definitely, that's like a classic.
That's what got me into sad contemporary for sure. Yeah.
Oh, A Little Life. I haven't read that one. Liv.
Oh, I've heard from so many people. So it's just it is adult. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she said it's an adult.
Yeah.
A sad adult contemporary. And definitely. Oh yeah, Adam Silvera. I haven't read any of his stuff.
The Sun Is Also a Star. Someone said that one's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one to start with.
Yeah, because it's like happy, but then it's not.
It is. It's like bittersweet. So I think
that's my favorite kind.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So adult, people who want to get more into adult, I'll say like adult contemporary. A lot of people said in the polls that they got into Evelyn Hugo. So I think that would be, if it worked for some people, might work for you.
That's definitely what got me into adult contemporary.
Yeah.
just Taylor Jenkins Reid. Just read her, and then you can read everything else.
Any of her books. I recommend her newer books, the newer 2 books, but I think the other ones are like more happy. They're just like more Sophie Kinsella-esque. Not that funny, but like
They're not happy exactly.
but they're more lighthearted. I don't know. They're easier to get. I don't know. They're just not historical fiction. There you go.
True.
Oh, Crazy Rich Asian series. Definitely. Those are like candy. So easy to get through. So much fun. I still have to read the last book, but yes, recommend. And then what are genres we didn't cover?
Historical fiction.
Historical fiction. How about that? What should you read?
Oh my god, there's so many. I love so many of them.
Off the bat, what is it?
The Book Thief is not a good one to start with.
No.
It's the first one that came to my head. So that's 0% helpful. I think starting with something that's like not too far in history or something that like I guess it would depend because like something that yeah. So like I think World War II historical fiction is definitely good. Rita Sepetys, as someone said in the chat, that's a really good author to start off with.
So I think that would be a good place to start.
Great. The Diviners is I think a good one as well. Like Liv said again. Liv just coming through. Yeah, I think that anything where like you're familiar with it, so it's not going to be too complicated.
1920s in New York, like
exactly. Like it's something that like
shows and movies that are set in that
you've
era.
seen before. Yeah.
Oh, 2 people said The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I haven't read that one.
Have you seen it? So sad.
Oh, I haven't.
I read the book. I didn't really care for the book that much.
Oh, well.
And
2 people liked it, so listen to them.
Oh no, there's so many people out there who've liked it. I mean, my opinion is not the end all and be all. Believe it or not.
I never tried the day.
Wild.
And then somebody said recommend some place to start with graphic novels. So I would definitely recommend The Prince and the Dressmaker. That is so like you can read it in 2 seconds. It's so much fun and it definitely reads like a little short story because that's what a graphic novel is.
I say for like a comic graphic novel series, read Saga.
Yeah.
Saga is everything. It's adult, so like don't read it if you're like
very adult.
Like 18 plus.
Yeah.
Shocked right off the bat.
Yeah. It tells you, but like yeah. It's literally one of the greatest series I have ever read. It's so good.
Nimona, that's a good one too. Have you read that?
Which one?
Nimona.
No, I haven't read Nimona.
It's really good. I read it a couple years ago and I still think about it. Really good. So I think that some people are saying Paper Girls if you're into sci-fi. I haven't read that one. But
and Persepolis.
Yes.
For a nonfiction graphic memoir.
So yeah, I like all of the recommendations in the chat. Amazing. So I don't think is there anything else that we haven't covered?
I don't think so.
I think we're good.
What are some benefits of reading outside of your comfort zone? To all the people who are watching and are against
grow as a person. That's why I don't do it. I don't want to grow as a person.
Hailey,
you're so massive with your muscles. You can't grow anymore. Look at that. Literally flexing from both sides. I love it. But yeah, I think it's really great to figure out if you're in a reading slump or something like that. I definitely would recommend try and go outside of your comfort zone a little bit. Maybe the reason that you're in a reading slump is because you've Pokemon evolution. You've reached your next evolution stage and you need to try something new. Maybe you're just not interested in the things that you've been currently reading. So try something new. Maybe listen to one of the recommendations we gave here today or get some recommendations from other booktubers or friends. And it can help you figure out your reading taste. I wouldn't have known that I was into mystery if I didn't give a chance on that. And you get exposed to new genres and themes and ideas. You connect with new people and fandoms. So, if you start reading The Mortal Instruments, you have a lot of people you can talk to, or Red, White, and Royal Blue that popped off. There's a huge fan of that right now, which is great. And yeah, so I definitely recommend trying to experiment a little bit. You might be really into fantasy right now, but why not give something a chance? So yeah, I think that's all we're going to talk about today. And So now is the perfect time to talk about our BookTuber of the week. Our BookTuber of the week is Marinez from My Name is Marinez here on BookTube, and she's on Twitter. She does so many things. She has a podcast. She is also one of the co-founders of Booknet Fest, which is in Orlando, Florida, my motherland. And it's during September, I think, the beginning of September. It is a book conference that is, I think it's relatively inexpensive too. It is so accessible, and it's mostly focused on the community. So there's a lot of panels, a lot of networking events. There's not like as much of like the art craze as BA and everything is. So it's more about connecting with other people, and it's so much fun, so relaxed, and I really enjoy it. This is going to be the third one this upcoming September, and a lot of fun. I think it's just over a weekend. So if you just want to like pop on over to Orlando for a couple of days, there's a lot to do here. I would know. Okay, so I contacted Marinez earlier for a bio, so I'm going to read off her bio right now. So Marinez is a 30-something South Floridian who loves the beach but cannot swim. Oh, I'm so sorry. Her day job is in human resources, but mostly she works for the internet. On her BookTube channel, she reads across genres, loves tackling discussions, and talks a lot about the importance of representation and the horribleness of Twilight. She is also the co-creator of Booknet Fest, runs the website snarksquad.com, co-hosts the media podcast Snark Squad Pod, and the upcoming podcast about Disney Channel original movies, Cooler Than Homework. She is also Pride and Prejudice's #1 fan. Thanks, Dad. Real one. So she does so much, has so many different podcasts. I really recommend Snark Squad Pod. I listen to that sometimes, and especially the one about Pride and Prejudice. A lot of fun because I also love Pride and Prejudice. So they talked about all the different adaptations, and so much fun. So I am a really big fan of Marinez. Please check her out. Amazing, top-notch person, and her BookTube channel is also amazing. Does a lot of great discussions about online culture and books in general. So yeah, I think that.
Sorry, someone commented, "We the North." Yes, we are. I cannot. Yes, nailed it.
Wow.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, that's the end of our live show here today. So everybody, read outside your comfort zone. Get that next Pokemon evolution. Have so much fun. Check out Marinez. Check out Booknet Fest. Read some books. Live your life. Oh, join us on Sunday when we're going to be talking about Clockwork Angel. Maybe Hailey will finish it by then.
Scandal!
Who knows? She was going to lie and tell you that she's finished it, but she's currently reading something, a liar.
I listened to the audiobook, and then I went and I was like, I don't know what happened in this audiobook. So then I'm physically reading it now, and I'm on page 100, okay?
No, it's all good. You'll finish by Sunday, and that's all that matters. You were on top of it.
Hot tea that you're pouring all over me.
I needed to tell the people what they need to know. I can't lie to the chat. You're too nice for this. Anyway, our June book of the month is I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. And also on our Goodreads page right now, I just did something where I just opened a topic where we're asking for suggestions for upcoming books of the month. So if you want any input on what we read next, let us know. We just want to know what you guys are into, because it's not just our book club, it's all of our book club, because we want to talk with you. Because you're the reason why we talk to each other. Without you, we would never talk. Is this like sure about that? The live show is going?
I don't know where this has gone.
Do you have any last words?
Goodbye.
We're going to end this as chaotic as we started it. Thank you for watching, everybody, and we'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Bye!